Dipti is waiting in line. Family members are there with their iPhones taking photographs. So let's quickly go to her. She's got a question. Dipti, go ahead.
So my question to you is, why is it then if someone posts something online that they're put behind bars, if it's something offensive? And why do you feel that the IT Act is being misused again and again?
The best question. The best question.
Dipti, firstly, let me tell you, again, give you some statistics to start with. In '98, when there was a dot-com boom taking place all over the world, in India, there were just about 1.4 million internet users. In 2010, that figure was about 100 million. Today, in India, there are about 150 million active internet users. In 2015, in 2 years, that number will more than double. In fact, a recent report by Cisco said that half of the world will be on the internet in 2017. Now, the reason that we've seen such massive internet penetration in our country, such quick growth, is because of government policies. We haven't curtailed the spread of the internet. In fact, we facilitated it. So we in the Ministry of Communications and IT are leaving no stone unturned to provide connectivity, to get more and more people signed up to the internet. So it's definitely not our intent to curb the use of the internet. In fact, it's, as I said, to proliferate the use of the internet. Now, the part of the IT Act and what you're talking about is Section 66. And there's 6 parts of Section 66 in the IT Act, and the first part is Section 66A, which I understand and I agree is a controversial section in that Act. Let me tell you that this Act, the process for framing this, drafting this law and amending the IT Act began in 2005. At that time, when we saw massive internet penetration, the government of the day said we need better rules to govern the internet. The world around us had these laws, but India had no laws to govern using the internet. We drafted this section in 66A of the IT Act based on what exists in countries like the United States, United Kingdom, Australia. Went through an elaborate process whereby an expert committee was set up. That expert committee suggested a bill. That bill was presented to Parliament. That bill then went to the Related Standing Committee of Parliament, which is a group of multi-party MPs. They deliberated on it. In fact, they said that the suggestions to the amendments are not strong enough. It went to Parliament, it got enacted, it became a law in 2009. It took 4 years to draft that law in 66A. So it wasn't something that was done in haste. It was done after a lot of deliberation looking at various models around the world. And I'm sure, Deepti, that you would agree that the laws that exist in the offline space must exist online as well. We can't be the only country in the world where that doesn't exist, because the internet is a global medium. We have to have similar laws that exist in the United States, in other countries, that exist in our country too. So 66A as a law is not a faulty law in my opinion. It's a good law. The implementation was a problem. There was a misuse of that law many a times. One of the most recent incidents happened in outside Mumbai in Palghar. Post that, in January, the government of India and our ministry issued an advisory to all state governments to allow 66A to be applied on a particular individual after a complaint is filed only by a senior police officer, not by a local police inspector. And you would see and you would agree with me that in the last 6 months since that advisory was issued, there have been no cases of misuse of 66A. But we are open to suggestions. But I would like to tell you that there is no such thing by the government to either regulate content, either decide what content is good on the net or what is bad. We just want to make the internet a fun, fair, educational, interactive medium, just like it exists all over the world. But we want people to use the internet and be responsible on the internet just as they are offline.
Okay, so basically, Milind, if we critique a politician, I think that's the main question. There will be no abuse of power. Critique a politician on the net in a civilized way, there will be no abuse of power. Am I right?
No, Cyrus. Firstly, this critiquing a politician or lampooning a politician even is completely acceptable. The cases that were brought to light by the media were only cases which related to politicians. There were many other cases which didn't relate to politicians, which had no politics in it also, where there were frivolous complaints, where the act was being misused. So we've completely put that to rest today. As of today, and just recently, the Supreme Court, which is in fact hearing the validity of 66A, observed that state governments must follow the central government's, the Ministry of Communications advisory before invoking 66A. So I would like to tell young people that unfortunately the act was being misused by local police officers in different states. You are free to use it constructively, just as you do things offline. The same thing that you can't do offline, obviously you can't do online. But if you want to go out and caricature politicians, lampoon politicians, feel free to do so.
Okay, not something I like doing. But Dipti, thank you so much again.